What's up, guys? Before I jump into it, I want to let you know that tonight, and hopefully a lot more in the future, I'll be live over on my Twitch channel playing some Warzone with friends, so I'd love to chat further with you all. If you're interested in hanging out, the link will be in the top of the description below. That said, let's jump into the content at hand. Today was the first update of Season 3 for Modern Warfare and Warzone, and while it isn't some grand scale of a title update like last week's update for Modern Warfare and the launch of a brand new season, there's some additions and changes that have been made for the game that, as always, I want to run down with you so that you're entirely in the know and are up to speed with absolutely everything happening in the game. Today, we're going to be breaking down the key changes of today's playlist update, so with that said, let me know your thoughts down below. Of this smaller update, what part are you enjoying the most? And as well, if you are new to the channel, do be sure to hit that subscribe button if you have not done so already, especially if you're a part of that nearly 83% of viewers who are not to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare and Warzone on a daily basis. But with that said, let's begin. There's a few changes here on the front end that players can visually see, but as well, there are some changes made on the back end, some technical, some bug fixes, stuff like that we'll cover later on in the video as well. But let's start with the more prominent of changes here with that, the stuff on the front end that you can see visually and actually interact with. Let's start out with the multiplayer side of things, because I think this is probably where the bulk of players may be coming from, at least here on this channel, and stuff that you may be interested in. But that's also where the majority of changes came from as well. For this, as well as Warzone, the big changes really come down to the playlists that were switched out. This week, we end up seeing in multiplayer, we have the additions of the Gunfight Tournament, Drop Zone, and Stir Crazy. Now, the tournament is something that is returning here for Gunfight, which is honestly, I think, awesome. It's been a ton of fun in the past, but it pits you up against 15 other teams where your ultimate goal, of course, is to be that last team standing. The big difference, though, with this tournament is that it is a trios tournament where it's 3v3 gunfight instead of the standard 2v2. Now, it's going to be played on King, Stack, Docks, Speedball, Hill, Gulag, Showers, and Pine, and offers you different rewards as you rank up through the bracket style of play. If you make it all the way, you'll get absolutely everything, including the brand new AUG variant, 2 sprays, and an emblem, as well as a total of 8,500 XP on top of your regular play and XP that you earn already. But the limited time mode is available once again here. As for how long it will last, that's something that we don't exactly know. The first time that we saw it, I think it was only a couple of days. Then the second one we saw, it lasted, I think, like 2.5 weeks or so, but it could be anywhere between 1 week, a couple of days, or maybe multiple weeks. So just take advantage of it while you have the opportunity to. I'm sure there's going to be an announcement of some capacity made whenever it's going to be removed, but jump in while you can. After that, we end up seeing that we have Drop Zone as a returning game mode here with this one, where the objective, of course, is to hold the drop zone to progress your team's objective score, but that's also how you end up getting kill streaks. If you end up holding that drop zone, you end up seeing care packages drop from the sky with various different kill streaks. Naturally, kill streaks are disabled, so you won't be able to use them just based off whatever streak you go on with your gun, but it forces you to play the objective and thus can create some hectic gameplay scenarios out of it. Maybe you get UAVs and other smaller kill streaks while holding down the objective, but maybe your enemies get a gunship or a chopper gunner for holding down theirs. So it'll vary, but jump in while you have the opportunity for that as well. And then finally, the last playlist added in was that of the Stir Crazy playlist, which is a 10v10 playlist with cranked, kill confirmed, domination, and hard points on a various number of maps. Now, this also is something that was added into hardcore as well, so for the first time in a while, we actually see right off the bat some hardcore love for the featured playlist as well. But definitely a nice addition, I think, and of course 10v10 play is definitely a lot of fun on the right maps, so jump in and take advantage of that. But game mode wise, that's it for MP. But jumping over to Warzone, this is where we see the new introduction of a brand new LTM, Scopes and Scatter. Now, when we saw this for the first time back in a data mined leak a couple of weeks back, I said it initially, but props to whoever came up with the game mode description here for this one, with the shotguns and snipers only, near, far, wherever, BR. I find that my heart will go on reference pretty good here with that one, but it sees you utilizing marksman sniper rifles plus shotguns only. This is one that honestly I think plays rather well from the couple of times that I played it initially and up front. There are a few key differences here that it seems in terms of not only just gameplay options on offer, but also how the meta of the game plays as well. One big thing that you'll notice if you jump in for the first time, and if you try and play it like any other game of BR, you'll notice that there are no loadout drops available. So you don't have to worry about making a custom class just for this LTM because you're not going to get to use it. But that also frees up a ton of cash to use elsewhere, whether that be UAVs, self-revives, armor. Armor is absolutely important here at this because the majority of these weapons will tear through your armor. So make sure that you end up utilizing your cash in a way that is advantageous to you, but it also is something that gets kind of hectic late game because of course you have all these engagements where you want to stay at least a little bit of distance away from people, but sometimes shotguns won't be able to do that, and snipers, it might be a little too close. But with these ranging types of weapons, for the two extremes of gunfights, CQB or long range, I personally think in the games that I played, it felt like it made the pace of the game, one, faster, but also two, made players move more, which was definitely a positive here for me. One other thing also that is a key difference here between this and standard BR is that the zone will continuously come in after I think it's the first wave. You initially have like 45 seconds or so, I think, from when the dropship will allow you to drop off, and then it's a 6-minute countdown timer from then until the end of it closing in on the first zone, but it will then jump immediately then to closing in on the second zone. So while it will go slower in terms of that zone coming in, it essentially continuously keeps moving. So that's a big difference here that doesn't have that couple of minutes of downtime before the zone starts moving in, but just be conscious of that. It continuously pushes you a little bit further towards that end zone. Now, the big thing though that was taken out in the Warzone category is the fact that there's no longer just your standard trios. We have solos, quads, and of course then scopes and scatter, which is your trios mode, but you don't have the standard traditional BR experience in a trios setting anymore, which is weird to me that they keep taking this stuff off the table. It seems like quads and solos of course are staying, which is great, but with the game being built for trios, it just seems weird that they keep taking it off the table. And like last week, I would imagine it comes back at some point, but for the time being, it's no longer there right now. Now that we have solos, trios, and quads, I don't see the reasoning as to why you take one off. You had that playlist marker before last week's update in which solos was a subcategory, so why not put those regular modes in that same playlist category, but have your regular playlist that you want to showcase, like the LTMs, up front? I feel like that'd be the easy compromise, but that's something I wanted to note. The final changes on the front end here came down to the shop updates that we saw within Modern Warfare, and of course that's a weekly occurrence. Your dailies of your blueprints and your operator categories are all subject to whatever you may have on yours. That changes depending on the individual, but the featured category, we ended up seeing 2 more introduced here at this one, where we had the cleanup crew as well as the twin dragons introduced into the shop. The cleanup crew goes for 2,000 COD points and comes with the irradiated otter skin, the meltdown Dragonov, the wiretap 50 GS, the acid rain watch, the icebreaker finisher for otter, the don't go nowhere otter quip, the drainage calling card, the terminal patrol emblem, and 1 additional tier skip. Now, the skin itself is pretty cool. I'm not really into either of those weapons. The 50 GS I might use if I play some standard MP, which I'm just not feeling as of lately with Warzone out, but that is there if you are interested at all. The twin dragons is introduced for 1,300 COD points in the shop and comes with 2 weapon blueprints of the Kingly Splendor M4A1 and the Alchemist Dreams 50 GS, as well as the Soul of the Mountain emblem and Spirit of the Spring sticker. Now, this actually was one the M4 was showcased in the trailer, so it seems like these other things introduced in the trailer will also be featured blueprint shop items, so we'll have to wait for the next couple of weeks to see what those ones come out, but I'm a big fan of these ones actually. This one is pretty tempting. I do still use the M4, though I think in Warzone in particular and MP, the ground has kind of taken my place as the favorite as of recently, same with the M13, but the 50 GS is also I think a little cooler in this one than that of the cleanup crew, plus I'd also get a little bit more use out of it with the other weapon as well, but those are there if you are interested at all. But let's move on to some back-end changes here at this. There's a handful of general fixes that were made here for this, such as an issue on PC where players lost the ability to use their field upgrade that they purchased when placing armor plates on in the buy station in Warzone. That's been fixed out. Upon picking up a dropped SKS, the initial raise audio would be heard globally, which is obviously not something that should be happening. That's been fixed. They fixed Azur's Brothers Keeper skin displaying the incorrect headgear while in the multiplayer squad walk menu or in the Warzone menu, which means goodbye to the Yeehaw Azur skin. That was a harmless and funny little visual bug. It added icons to the kill cam to now show if you are killed by someone using dead silence or stopping power, which of course, especially in Warzone, can definitely be something that is helpful for that information, especially if you see your armor and your HP go down at the same time when you're getting shot at. And as well, it finally fixed a stat graph for the Renetti not appearing correctly. So those have been your back-end changes as well, and that's kind of the update that we had here with this. Overall, I think that it is what we kind of expected for a playlist update. Like we talk about, the rule of 2 still applies with these weekly refreshes and such, so I'd consider what we're in to be the Valley. Next week, it should pick up with something larger, whether that be a new map of some sort, like a new 2v2 map for Gunfight, whether that be some sort of addition in terms of meta changes for Warzone. Something a little bit more substantial next week is what I'd expect, but that's everything that came along with this week's update. One thing that I do think may actually come before next week, though, is again that reintroduction of trios. I don't understand why they took it out. I know people are going to be asking for it again, so I'd expect maybe that to be returning in the next day or two as well, like we saw with last week. But that's the changes here with this week's update. So that said, we're going to wrap it up. And your thoughts down there in the comment section down below. Is there anything in particular you guys really enjoyed as this update? Any playlist you're really enjoying? Whatever it is, feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to drop a like down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare, updates, news, information, tips, tricks, all that good stuff. We get you covered here on the channel. So if any of that interests you, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. If you guys also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected outside of YouTube. I live on both those. So if you guys want to check out the conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. That said, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.